Hello, my name is Michael Fritzel. Today we'll be discussing whether gap years are necessary or simply a way to derail an education. Gap years are becoming more common among young people, often because of many students choosing what path to take after high school is unclear or challenging. A gap year is generally a year that students take off before enrolling in college. This is typically a time taken to work, to save money, volunteer, intern, study abroad, or even just travel to learn about oneself. Gap years are most common in the UK. As times change, college students in other countries are seeing gap years as a positive opportunity before going to college. These three programs are some programs that students can enroll in to take a gap year. Here are Here you can see each program is different and how students have many choices when it comes to picking a gap year program. Statistically speaking, 60% of students said a gap year helped them decide what subject to study at university. 40% of students did not apply to university before embarking on their gap year, and 66% of students took their academic work more seriously after a gap year. So why take a gap year? Nobody wants to live a monotonous life, but sadly many of us end up getting sucked in by our daily routine. Change is essential. It makes us feel alive and engaged while we grow to learn new things. It has become the reasons to take a gap year include enhancing knowledge through hands-on experience, gaining more life experience through exchange programs, learning foreign languages, and of course, traveling. There are many ways a gap year can enhance your education. In a gap year, the world is your classroom. You gain a sense of financial responsibility and become more culturally aware. In a gap year, life experience is gained daily. You tend to develop a better idea of how you want to spend the rest of lives in the gap year. While designed gap years help students find direction, purpose, and passion in their learning, a gap year can also improve self-confidence by having an independent to be more independent and social. Learning foreign language is something that is not that not every gap student can do, but it is encouraged for many reasons. Other language broadens the world view. In general, it is important. Traveling is a huge advantage of taking a gap year. Many people said they wished they traveled when they were younger. A gap year students have this chance. There is no better way to learn about history than to physically witness it. Sitting in a classroom does not allow you to truly experience culture. While there are many arguments for taking a gap year, there is equally as many against it. For example, it might be a waste of time. Not everyone's mature enough to take a gap year. Gap years could cause students to choose not to continue with their education, and it is expensive. Gap years could be a waste of time for many reasons. Waiting to attend college could lead to never going, and without plans, students can be set back the rest of their goals. Lastly, skills learned in prior years and semesters are often learned to pass tests without reinforcement. When it comes to lacking maturity, not every 18-year-old can handle a full-time job, and it could be difficult and scary to travel alone at a young age. Students aren't ready. Either the workforce can take this gap year and mature to learn their path they want to take. Students have shown that gap years rarely derail education, most often benefit from taking the year of academically. It refreshes the mind and enables students to return to the classroom with greater focus, motivation, and purpose. 90% of students who took gap years returned to college within a year. The average cost of a gap year is a main concern for students. Gap year programs typically cost less than 1 year of university. Prices may range from $10,000 to $15,000 for a full year designated program, but a gap year organized there has less costly programs. The chart, a part of the 2015 National Alumni Survey, details the most significant influences students have when deciding to take a gap year. As you see, most common travel and experience other cultures, gain life experience, and grow personally. There are alternatives to a gap year that students take. Many students take their version of the gap year after graduate college, and main program being the Peace Corps. Students abroad in college also alternate gap year. So, how will the gap year better the future? 88% of gap year students report the gap year is significantly added to their employment. Gap years students are perceived to be more mature, more reliant, and more independent than non-gap year students. Whether you take a gap year or choose one of the alternatives, taking a break from school can be a huge advantage. Not everyone is ready to choose their career at 18. High school students are pressured heavily to decide their future, and it's what's best for them. To sum it up, a gap year in dress enrollment trends to continue to grow. The benefits of gap year can only be enjoyed properly if well thought out are plans made before. Gap years, they're alternatives, and that's the end.